Well, hello guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the re-scheming of the Skymaster A-10 aircraft. We are re-scheming this aircraft to be the Blacksnakes scheme, and this is painting video number 2 in the series. So stay tuned and we will continue painting this aircraft and get the black finished. All right guys, so first thing we're going to start off with is the wing. Now the reason we're going to start off with the wing is it's a fairly simple surface. We've got a pretty easy layout on this surface as well too. So it kind of follows the leading edge panel line here and then kind of comes back around to the flap. So I do have pictures and we'll be able to insert those pictures and take a look at this, but it's a pretty straightforward painting scheme on the wing itself. I mean, most of the airplane, once you're installing the black, is pretty straightforward. The fuselage is probably the most complicated part, but again, pretty simple layout. Altogether, not too bad. So anyways, first thing we're going to do on this wing is we are going to use our flexible tape, our 3M prep tape, and we are going to prep this guy off. So let's get that going. All right guys, and as I talked about before, fortunately I took some really good pictures, and anyways, I got them on my phone. What I'll do is maybe I'll throw them in here as we're talking about this. So I've got some good pictures to go off of. I took some nice overhead views of these wings just so I can see exactly where the line is, and it's pretty straightforward as far as where we're going. All right, and that's what it looks like when it is all prepped off. And what we'll do is we'll go through the prep process on these wings. Mainly what I'll cover for you is the soft edge masking tape. So it's really actually very straightforward. It's nice stuff to work with because it's repositionable. It's got good adhesive, but pretty easy to work with and mold around what you need. The underside of the wing is all prepped, and that's completely prepped. And then the top side is papered and prepped. Now you may be thinking, why the two different masking tapes? The painter's tape is good to go on to the painted surfaces. So like this end here, this is all just tape. The paper kind of laps onto it. The contractor tape, the yellow stuff, is very, very sticky. So I don't like to put that on the paint just in case it pulls some of it off. It is really sticky. So when I'm going on to paper, I'll use the contractor tape, or when I'm going on to the actual foam soft masking tape. All right, so I started prepping this wing off, just doing the flexible masking tape, and noticed there was a bit of a dent that I missed on the wing here. So anyways, what I did was I paused what I was doing, mixed up some 30-minute epoxy with some micro balloons, filled this guy in. We'll sand this down. We're gonna take our prep off. You see there how easy that is. What we'll do is we'll just set that aside like that. And then we can, once this is sanded out and cleaned up, we can just respray this area. And when you spray cured paint onto, new paint onto cured paint, you're gonna get a bit of a difference there. So what we'll do is, rather than spraying this entire whole wing, we'll just respray this area and kind of use the front, this thing here as our stopping point. And so we'll respray this whole area right there. So we'll do that tomorrow once this gets all cured, and that will solve our little dent problem. All right guys, so I just sanded out the repair here that we've talked about, and it all is good and ready to accept paint. Now we do have a couple areas that we'll talk about here. So when you have a line like this isn't really critical. This is going to be covered up by the fairing, I think you'd call it, right over there. Anyways, you'll find this on the standard Skymaster kits as well too, where they've filled in and sanded out an area and you've lost your details. So in an area like this, I'll just show you quickly how you can can refresh that panel line. So one of the simplest ways is just take your, I call them Zona saws, I don't know what their name is, but just your little hobby saw, and you basically just clean out that panel line with the paint or the filler or whatever is stuck in there. There we go. So not a huge task. And you can use something a little bit wider as well too, which actually matches your panel lines, but this one's pretty good for sizing. So that's a quick way to refresh your panel lines if you do some filling close to the panel line. So as talked about before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this gray section here. I'm going to give this a wipe down with some rubbing alcohol, paint that gray section, let that dry, and then we can go on and we can prep for the black on this left wing. All right guys, so we're gonna get this black on the one wing taken care of this morning. It's a beautiful morning outside, perfect for spraying, no wind, temperature is decent as well too. Right now we're sitting at 75 degrees in the shop. Outside is about 68 degrees for you Americans. For everybody else that uses the metric system, it's about 20 degrees outside right now. So anyways, we're using the black. I just want to talk about a couple simple spray techniques. So number one, temperature is important as well. You want to make sure it's not too cold out. So if you're spraying in the summertime, you're pretty good. Humidity wise, basically we're dry here in our part of the world. It's always dry, it's excessively dry, so we don't have an issue with that. But if it's a really humid day, you got to be aware of that as well too, and that may be why you want to be in a climate controlled environment. So spray technique. Now on something like this, it's not super important, but if you get into like doing a glossy finish and nice finishes and stuff like that, it does make a difference. But overall, this will help any paint job. So when you're spraying, you always want to have your gun, your can, whatever you're using, perpendicular to the surface. So what that means is when you're spraying, you don't want to be going like this, okay? What happens is your fan comes out of your device you're using, and if you're rolling that gun or can over, okay, your fan is doing this. Okay, ideally what you want to do is if you're spraying something, you want your fan to be the same all the time. So you want to be moving across the surface with your device, not rolling it. Okay, so what happens is if you're spraying straight onto the surface, the paint's going to lay down properly. If you start to angle that spray pattern, it starts rolling over itself and will create a different surface. It'll be bumpy. Now your paint may lay down fine, but this is again just general spray technique. One of those little tips, doesn't matter what you're spraying, what you're using, it helps. So anyways, let's go out and paint this wing and I'll show you a couple things. Okay guys, so beautiful morning out this morning for painting. We've got a vehicle right here. If there was any sort of wind, I would move this vehicle, but we have zero wind right now, so that's a non-issue. Now, one of the important things when you're painting with the soft edge masking tape is you don't want to spray down into where the masking tape is stuck to the surface. The whole point of this is to get a soft edge. So generally you want to be spraying down towards the masking tape or this way to get that soft edge and not a hard panel line or prep line. So what we're going to do is on something like this, I want to spray across and try and keep a wet edge. Not overly important today because there's no sun this morning. It's not super hot. So that's how we're going to do it, but I'm going to start over on this end because we've got bad access and then just work my way across this way. Now we're probably going to end up doing 2 coats as we found out on the other surfaces. Like when we sprayed the verticals, the rudders, definitely needed two light coats to get good coverage. So anyways, let's spray this thing. So you'll see, as I've talked about, my hand is staying in the same spot. We're not rolling our spray pattern over. We're moving it straight across the surface, giving us the best laydown of paint possible. There we go. So that's coat number one. This is going to skin over pretty quickly. Now we're a little bit heavier in this area, a little bit lighter in this area. Our second coat should cover that, no problem. So I'll give you a close-up here with the reflection so you can kind of see while the paint's wet what we're looking at. So you can see there we're a fairly light coat all the way across. Okay, that's no problem at all. And we're a little bit heavier in this area. You can see a bit of gray showing through over on the edge. So, but that is coat number one. And repeating basically exactly the same thing we did last time. And I'm just touching up areas that are a little bit light. There we go. Awesome stuff. All right, guys, we got the parts order from Aero Panda for this aircraft. So we're going to open it up. Apparently it was opened by Customs as well. So you always got to love when Customs opens up your packages. I don't mind it on parts orders. It's not so fun on aircraft. Okay, so let's open these things up and take a look at them. So we've got the Cortex, which is going on the A10. Obviously all this stuff's for the A10. We've got the Central Box 310 from Jeti. We've got HV 747 servos. I believe we're using those on the rudder. I have to check the list. We've got a 1220 servo. And we've got 9930s. Lots of 9930s. Those are pretty much the go-to servo for everything on here. Lots of 9930s. There we go. So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 9930s, 2 747s, and 1 of the 1220s. And then we've got a Rex 12 receiver, and so yeah, we have a Rex 12 and another Rex 12. Yeah, 2 Rex 12s. And then we've got all of our small parts. Oh yeah, the compressor. We've got a compressor to put in there, which is awesome. And we've got a bunch of our Xicoy stuff here. So we've got the sequencer from Xicoy. We've got a 2-way valve, a 2-way valve, and a 1-way valve. Okay, those are for the landing gear and stuff. And then we've got a bunch of little parts in here as well. And of course, Panda stickers, very nice. Thank you, Aero Panda. Okay, so we got our Festo valves, one-way valve. This is all for just how the aircraft gets set up for David. And we've got a couple servo arms here as well too. These are 1-inch servo arms with Futaba spline, and then we've got a bunch of 2-inch servo arms. Now, on the A10, you basically need a whole bunch of long servo arms. People are kind of surprised when you ask for these, but this is the right servo arm. Like all the flaps use the long ones, and that's to make sure you get enough flap travel. And the elevators, I think, are long as well too. We've got a bunch of Festo fittings. That's to plumb in the compressor. We've got the fueler port, the little holders, and then this guy here, which is the extension for our expander. So we don't have, I didn't see the expander in the order yet. Oh, expander's right here in this little envelope. So this is the SE6 expander. So basically what happens is this plugs into a, I think an EX bus port. I can't remember exactly how this works, but there's good instructions on Esprit's website. And the MR30 connector plugs into here, and then you've got 6 additional channels for low power stuff. So you can power things like your brake valve, your gear sequencer, just those kind of things where it's not a servo, not a high torque, high power servo. You're just using it on low power stuff. So it's going to open up all the options that we have. The central box is really close to having enough channels, probably is, but the expander port will just make sure that we don't have any issues with ports. All right, and I'm just peeling off the masking from this one wing, and so I've peeled off all of our scale details that we prepped off before, and that looks awesome. So you can see the soft edge here. Now what that does is it creates an edge that's not like a super strong paint line. So you can see just a little bit of overspray there, which kind of creates the soft edge, as they call it. So anyways, that wing is painted now, and it looks dang cool. That is really nice. So we're going to pull the rest of that prep off, and we're going to continue working on all of our other parts. So the other wing, we got the gray resprayed on that side. So what we can do next is we can prep this this wing off and paint it exactly the same as we just did on the right wing. Okay guys, so next thing we're going to work on painting is the engine pods. So we need to get these prepped off. It's pretty straightforward. It comes from the back here all the way forward, loops up, and then goes to the back again as well too. So we'll get the soft masking tape installed first, and then we'll do all the other prep on the pods. All right, so engine pods are now painted and good to go. So those turned out good. A lot of prep, and the spray actually went pretty quick, so that's done. Also, they're just sitting outside right now, drying, but we've got the engine, or access hatch that I've also painted, and the front canopy has been painted as well too, so that part's done. So a few things we have left to do. We've got the fuselage, obviously. We've got one of the landing gear pods down there to do, and we've got a couple little pieces right there to take care of as well too. Other thing we have to do is the center pylons right there. We have to paint those in gray. So those are a few of the things outstanding. All right guys, we have the biggest part, or at least in my mind, the biggest part of painting this aircraft complete, which was the fuselage. So just like everything else we did our prep with our soft edge masking tape, prepped everything else off. You can see we already pulled some prep off there. And so essentially all of the painting on this aircraft is done. There's a couple small parts still to do, but we are finished. So what we'll do now is we'll pull that all the masking off, take a look at it, but she is a mean looking plane. There's a couple shots of the glare for you, and real happy with the way this thing's turning out. All right, and there it is with all the prep taken off and the engine pods just sitting in place. Really cool looking plane. Really happy with the outcome of this. It looks really nice. Took the prep off the windows. We're going to need to prep that again once we do the clear coat, once our graphics are done and we're ready to do our clear coat. And yeah, that's basically it. So it looks really good. Took the prep off the yellow marker lights here on the back, and they really pop nicely against that darker gray. So really good looking scheme. We're basically done the paint. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. I'm so excited for this scheme. You guys have no idea. Hopefully you can feel my excitement. Just want to give a shout out to each and every one of you that have donated to the Shop Build Fund. Thank you for those donations. It's very appreciated. As your names roll across the screen here, each and every one of you have donated something to the Shop Build Fund, whether it's a big donation or a small donation. They are all appreciated. So thank you very much. All right, and this thing is looking mean. A mean looking A10. Very impressed with this whole scheme. I knew from the time I saw it, it was going to be awesome, and this thing is going to be phenomenal. So that is it for the painting video, guys. We obviously we did the black in this video. We covered a lot more of the how-tos and the details and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully you got something out of this video. If you're scared of painting an aircraft, don't be. It's really not that hard. In the next video, we'll get into doing all the nomenclatures, the decals, decals, and then we'll do our 2K clear coat as well too. And you'll see when you do the clear coat, that 2K product specifically lays down really nice. So don't be scared to paint your aircraft. It is I'm not a huge fan of painting, but once you get to this stage, I kind of find it rewarding because we're making some great progress. So anyways, guys, that is the name of the game for the next video. So if you guys have enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it one of these, big thumbs up. And if you are not a subscriber already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, you can either post them in the comment section down below. Love hearing what you guys think of the scheme. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to reach out to me by email. That way you'll make sure that I get the comment, because the YouTube comment section isn't that awesome. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching the videos. Thank you for supporting the channel. And thank you just for all the support. Love it. We'll see you in the next video.